And welcome back to Emergency Management Associates. My name is Ron Tyler. You're tuned in to Emergency Management Associates, coming to you from the Area Command 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We want to welcome everybody to our program tonight. As we have been doing for quite some time, we're going to start this program off with a salute to the United States of America. We wish we could salute every country in the world that is our ally, but we obviously can't do that tonight. But we're going to start off with a salute to the country, and I'm going to ask you at this time to please rise for the national anthem and the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now would you make welcome, straight from Washington, D.C., the United States Army Corps Quartet.
Yeah.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Oh yeah! Come on, folks, let them know it.
America's finest, the United States Army Barbershop Quartet, coming to us from the Barbershop Quartet Convention in 2015. The host of the Barbershop Quartet Convention gave us the Pledge of Allegiance, and we appreciate that greatly. We want to thank all of our armed forces, men and women around the globe, wherever they might be. We also want to thank our allies and recognize our allied armed forces, wherever they might be. God bless you all. We thank you for your service, and we pray to God that you can return home to your families after your tours of duty end. God bless you, and thank you so much for your service. We appreciate that so much, folks. God bless our military. God bless our armed forces around the globe. Thank you for your service, gentlemen. Our thoughts and prayers go with you. We appreciate all of our armed forces, wherever they might be, including our allied armed forces. We appreciate you greatly. Sorry about that, guys. I had a slight problem with no sound again. YouTube took me down with no sound. I brought it back up, and I'm sorry about that. But we want to thank our military very much, where they might be around the globe, and our allies as well. Folks, we have a lot to talk about tonight. I want to talk about an earthquake that happened down in the Imperial Valley. It was the Ocotillo Valley quake. Okay? Imperial Valley, Ocotillo Park. Okay? This is where it happened. Okay? This is what USGS gave us 2.5 hours ago. Okay? This is what I copied. I'll show you what they give us now in just a few minutes. Okay? This was a 5.0 earthquake. They immediately downgraded it to a 4.8. Okay? They immediately downgraded it to a 4.8. You notice the other aftershocks here? There's maybe a total 30 plus aftershocks so far from this earthquake. Again, this is in Ocotillo, which is just outside on the southwestern outskirts of the Imperial Valley here. You'll notice up near the top right-hand corner, you'll see El Centro Naval Air Station. We're going to show you a seismogram in a few minutes of these aftershocks from El Centro and around the Imperial Valley. Okay? It's quite telling. Now, what you're not going to see is an accurate representation of the earthquake as it hit. It hit just after 2 a.m. this morning. Okay? I'll show this to you right now. I might as well do it right now. Okay, this is another view from the USGS, actually the EMSC. This is the EMSC map showing where the earthquake hit. And the aftershock. You see an aftershock all the way down into central Baja California, actually northern Baja California. Okay? But that's not all, folks. There's more. There's more. This is where it happened. Okay? I'm giving you the longitude and latitude coordinates. It had a depth of 5 kilometers deep. Okay? 2.5 miles deep. Okay? This was 42 kilometers west-northwest of Mexicali, Mexico. Mexicali, Mexico. Okay? This is directly west of where we had a 7.1 earthquake here in 2010. 2010 we had a 7.1 earthquake near Mexicali, Mexico and Calexico, California. The population of this area, 689,000 people, approximately. Okay? Approximately. That includes going over to the top of the Chocolate Mountains. This is not including San Diego County. Okay? The time it happened. Okay? Local time, 23:43 hours Pacific time. 11:43 last night. Okay? The approximate location was 16 miles west of Sealy in the Imperial Valley, Ocotillo, California. Population of the area, 1,700 people. 1,700 people. Now, I want to show you something else that might astound you. Okay? This is the back seismologist study page from this earthquake. Okay? If you go and click on the earthquake page, the USGS earthquake page, and come to this earthquake and click on this earthquake, it'll be a little black dot on the USGS map. Click on it. Okay? That will take you to the the approximate location of where this earthquake happened. You click on that information. It should light up light blue. When you click on that information, it'll take you to the back seismologist study page here. You want to click on the word origins. Origins. When you do that, you'll come to this page right here. Okay? I want to show you what happened here. USGS, in fact, says that this was at least a 5.0 earthquake. At least a 5.0 earthquake. I'm sorry. This was Alaska. Okay? I'm going to talk about Alaska in just a minute. I thought I had the study page for the Ocotillo quake. I can quickly bring it up. In fact, let me do that. I need to show you this. You're not going to get much out of it unless we show you what's going on here. Hold on a second here. Well, dad frickin' gummit. Maybe I'm not going to be able to show it to you. Oh, I think I might be able to. Hold on. We're going to bring it for you, okay? We're going to give it to you. You really need to see what's going on here. Okay? Okay, just a half a shake here. I think you're going to be kind of astounded why I'm going to show you here. People that don't normally study these things don't really have an idea what the USGS is trying to tell us here. But when you go deep diving like I normally do when these earthquakes happen, that's when you find out some interesting things here. And that's what I'm going to show you right now. This is it here. Okay? Sorry about that other one. We'll go back to Alaska in just a few minutes. Okay? Like I said, this came out as a 5.0 magnitude earthquake. USGS immediately downgraded it to a 4.8. And you can see it here. Notice here on magnitudes though. Okay? On magnitudes, they say 4.77 here. But look what it says there, no station details. It says that there are 6 stations reporting. But again, they don't want to show us any details. A 4.77 magnitude earthquake. It was not a 4.77. Okay? They showed it to us as a 4.8. Frequently, USGS will downgrade it to a 4.8, but they will show details as a 4.77. Okay? But look what I'm showing you now. This is a downgrade to 4.54. This is a full half magnitude downgrade here. 15 stations reporting, no station details. No station details. We go further down here. 5.01. Okay? 5.01. 104 stations reporting. Still no station details. We drop down further on this study page, and you can see a 4.75. Okay? 3-point downgrade, but this time there are 11 stations reporting. Notice throughout this study page, there is not one station reporting here. They have not given us any details. Nothing at all. Not one dadgum detail. Yes, they downgraded to 4.8, but there's nothing here to prove that it's even a 4.8 or 4.77 or a 4.54 or a 5.01 is what I believe it was. A 5.01 large earthquake. Again, USGS doesn't like calling 5.0, 5.9 earthquakes large. They're calling them light now. They're calling them light. But even so, to see these other earthquakes here listed and showing us stations that reported the earthquake, yet no data. They're not showing any data whatsoever. What they're telling us is they don't want to show us exactly what happened today. They don't want us to know what happened. Plain and simple here. I wanted to show you this because you're not going to see this anywhere else. Nobody's going to show it to you but moi. EMA, Emergency Management Associates. What I'm trying to do is show you the activity there because somebody's going to get hurt. This was a large earthquake. A large earthquake. Now, I want to show you something else. And this also has a great deal to do with what we're seeing here. Sorry, right here. Nope. Right there. Again, this is a detail sheet from the EMSC. But what I'm now going to show you are felt reports that showed up on the EMSC. Look at this. Okay? A person reporting from El Centro. I showed you on the map just a minute ago that this earthquake was southwest of El Centro. This person is in El Centro reporting this. 28 kilometers from the epicenter of the quake. Long rolling quake. Long rolling earthquake. This next person, you're going to get a true idea of what exactly happened here. They were in a 45-foot motorhome. It felt like somebody hit us from behind. 2 distinct impacts. Then felt slow rolling of the RV, or slow rocking of the RV. We had hydraulic levelers on a concrete pad. All the neighbors felt and woke up. Kids slept through it. Okay? Again, this is from El Centro. Let me show you another one here. I'm going to show you some people from Mexico. And I'm going to translate what they're saying. Yes, I have gone through some translation training here, so I can pull up the details of what they're talking about here. Okay? I want to make sure everybody can understand what is going on here. Okay? This one says, se sintió fuertecito. Okay? Meaning a lot of movement. A lot of movement. Okay? Rolling movement here. This is over in Fraccionamiento Hacienda del Rio, Mexico. 50 kilometers from the epicenter. That first one was in Lomas Absola, Mexico. Again, 50 kilometers from the epicenter. That's a long distance. That's like 35 miles from the epicenter in Mexico. Then, down here, this is Borrego Springs. Borrego Springs is over in northeast San Diego County. I've shown you earthquakes being recorded by USGS in Borrego Springs before. The Anzo Borrego Desert State Park, northeast San Diego County. This is where this person is. There's a small community there in Borrego Springs. This person is reporting heard furniture shifting, felt bed moving slightly for 15 to 20 seconds. Okay? That's what it felt like last night. Let's move and show you 5 more. Okay, this was in Fallbrook. This person was in Fallbrook, 145 kilometers from the epicenter, which is just about 100 miles, maybe just over 100 miles away. Fallbrook is north of Vista, California, just to give some people an idea where Fallbrook is. A lot of people don't know where Fallbrook is. I've been in Fallbrook before. Fallbrook is maybe a community of 20,000 people. It's in North San Diego County. Up there, it felt like a pulse. It felt like a pulse. Further north, Orange County, California, in Hemet. Okay, this is where the San Jacinto College is. Mount San Jacinto College. I'll show you the seismogram from Mount San Jacinto College in a few minutes. This one reporting here, slight pulsation while sitting in a chair. They felt it all the way up into Orange County, 146 kilometers from the epicenter. Here, San Jacinto. San Jacinto is just northeast of Hemet. There's a mountain called San Jacinto. Here, they say they felt a slow shake. Ceiling lamp swayed in San Jacinto, California. Okay? This is a long distance from Imperial Valley. Let's continue here. Okay? In order to understand exactly what happened, we need to look at it. This person was in Poway, mild stomping grounds. Poway, California, in San Diego County, North San Diego County. This person said they felt one light jiggle. Over in San Diego itself, vibration only. This person just across the North San Diego County border in Temecula. Okay? Again, 143 kilometers northwest of the epicenter. They heard a slight rumble and felt a tiny shake. Felt a slight rumble, or heard a slight rumble and felt a tiny shake. That's interesting, huh? Let's look at this. This one is in La Quinta. La Quinta is just north of the Anza Borrego Desert State Park. Okay? La Quinta. This is considered the northeast San Diego County before it turns into Orange County up around Temecula. La Quinta. Just a small quick jolt. Okay? This person is over near El Cajon. El Cajon is just over west of the Chocolate Mountains in East San Diego County. Here, windows shook as if there was a steady wind. Didn't feel anything else shake. Okay? Here in El Cajon, again Bostonia, a neighborhood of El Cajon, a shimmy. Okay? A shimmy. Let's continue. Here, this is Riverside County. This is a long distance from where the earthquake hit. Way up northwest from where the earthquake hit. Riverside County. This person felt nothing. Also over here in Riverside, Ladera Ranch. I live on the 4th floor. It shook the entire floor and the walls. I was rocking with the floor as it moved back and forth. I'm not used to earthquakes. Very scary. Okay? High Grove, also in Riverside. I felt this in Riverside, on the campus of University of California, Riverside. Okay? They felt it. That is a very long distance from this earthquake. And yet it's still a 5.0 earthquake. Okay? Let's look at this. This is over in Los Angeles. I saw my cup of water moving and I thought I might be crazy, LOL. Over in Los Angeles. North Hollywood. I felt one quick jolt. Okay? This is literally all over. All over. What really happened? Folks, earthquakes are animals of a different color. Okay? Depending on the bedrock, depending on where the earthquake is, the bedrock, is it rock or is it sand? In this case, there are the Chocolate Mountains to the west. Okay? Let me pull up the USGS map here, and I want to show you exactly what we're talking about. You need to see the whole area to understand exactly what happened today. Okay? Okay. I showed you just a little bit ago what the USGS showed us earlier this afternoon. 14 hours after, actually 16 hours, 16 hours after the quake hit, I showed you a slide that I picked up off the USGS site. Now, on the USGS site right here, they're showing a number of earthquakes, aren't they? All over. Isn't it interesting how they're now showing us earthquakes? Where earlier today they were not doing that. Okay? This is where they say that 4.8 hit. It was not a 4.8. It was a much larger earthquake. You can see the aftershocks built in after here too. It's continued to shake all morning and all afternoon today. You can see it here. Right now there's over 30 aftershocks. 30 aftershocks. Okay? Now let me back this out here, and I want to show you exactly where this is. This is over on the eastern side of the Chocolate Mountains. You can see the elevation here as we go west, the top of the Chocolate Mountains. If any of you have seen the Top Gun movies, the Top Gun movies showed the F-18 or F-14s, F-16s flying over the Chocolate Mountains around El Centro Naval Air Station. Okay? This earthquake was just west of there. Okay? So here we're seeing the Chocolate Mountains in all actuality here. Let's go northwest here. This is Pine Valley, California. This is wilderness area. Okay? It's not National Park, it's State Park of California here. Pine Valley. Over here is Ocotillo Wells. Just barely on the eastern side of the Chocolate Mountains here. That shows a 1.0 tremor. Okay? Further north here, this is Julian. 11 miles east-southeast of Julian. No, it's not. It's northeast of Julian. That's a 1.1 tremor here. Over here, it's a 2.0 earthquake in Julian. Julian, California. This is Apple, capital of San Diego. Julian, California. A 2.0 earthquake here. Folks, I believe that every one of these earthquakes here are a result of that 5.1 or larger earthquake today down in the Imperial Valley. Okay? Let's go northeast here. This is just north of Borrego Springs in the Imperial Valley. It's also northwest of Salton City. Okay? I just zoomed in here. This is Salton City right here. In a few minutes, I'm also going to show you a seismogram from Salton City. Okay? This earthquake here is in the Imperial Valley here, at the bottom of the Chocolate Mountains. It's a 2.1 earthquake. Over here, this is a 1.5. USGS wants to identify this as 9 miles north-northeast of Borrego Springs. Yes, that's true. Okay? They say this is 7 miles north of Borrego. No, it's not. Okay? Borrego Springs is right here, at the top of the Chocolate Mountains here. This is not north of Borrego at all. This is east of Borrego. I've been in Borrego before. This earthquake here, it's incredible. This is 2 miles, allegedly 2 miles north-northwest of Lake Henshaw, California. That's interesting. I used to fish at Lake Henshaw. This is not north-northwest, this is north-northeast. Actually, almost directly north of Lake Henshaw. This is a 0.6 microquake. Okay? Escondido, just to give you some idea, where we're at here, Escondido is right over here. This is Escondido City. I also used to live here for a short time. So this is northeast of Escondido. Okay? This earthquake here is 0.6 microquake, is north of Lake Henshaw, not north-northwest. It isn't anything north-northwest. USGS needs to get its act together. They're misreporting information. But every one of these earthquakes is probably related to this 5.1 or larger earthquake here this morning. Okay? Over here, way far north of Salton Sea. This is Desert Hot Springs, California. We don't often see seismic activity out here in the Desert Hot Springs. Occasionally we'll see something, but not often. This is a 1.5 tremor here. North of there, okay? Cabazon, California. This is over in the San Bernardino Mountains, Cabazon, California. It's called the Anza Gap area. Now, this whole area here from Cabazon southwest all the way over to this area here. This is considered the Anza Borrego Desert State Park. Okay? Even though we have an earthquake up here in Cabazon. That's the Anza Gap. This is all tied into the Anza Borrego Desert State Park. It's all tied into it. Northeast of Cabazon is Big Bear. Big Bear is a volcano too. This is a 0.2 microquake up in Big Bear today. I believe this may also be part of what this earthquake did all around it. Okay? I showed you felt reports going up into Los Angeles. Let's look at Los Angeles. Okay? Over here in Colton, California, a 0.7 microquake. South of there in the Moreno Valley, and I'm going to show you the Moreno Valley seismogram in just a minute. A 1.0 tremor. Southwest of there, Lake Elsinore. Lake Elsinore is in Orange County here. There's Lake Elsinore right there. Okay? I think I've told you what Lake Elsinore is. Yes, there's a town here. There's actually a town called Lake Elsinore. Just east of there is Temecula. Okay, we showed you an earthquake in Temecula. Okay? Actually, it wasn't an earthquake. It was someone reporting what they felt in Temecula. Okay? This is northwest of Temecula, north of Lake Elsinore. Okay? I wouldn't eat anything out of Lake Elsinore if you paid me. Okay? There's no water running into the lake except rainfall. Okay? There's no inlets from rivers or streams into Lake Elsinore. Because there's no inlets or exits from Lake Elsinore, it's stagnant water. And it doesn't smell good in the summertime. Linda Covington's in the chat and says, wow, new earthquake in California. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Now we're looking at up in Orange County, Los Angeles area. Let's go further into LA. Villa Park, a 1.3 tremor. Over here, Orange County, 2 miles southwest of Orange County. No, guess what? 2 miles northwest of Orange County, a 1.1 tremor here. Here, Yorba Linda, California. We've been having seismic activity here for about a week now. For those of you that don't know where Yorba Linda, California is, it's northeast of Los Angeles. It's the birthplace of former President Richard M. Nixon. Richard Milhous Nixon, who was president from 1968 to 1974. Richard Milhous Nixon was born here in Yorba Linda. Here today we have a 0.6 microquake. Over here also in Yorba Linda we have a 2.0 earthquake. Interesting. 2.0 earthquake. We've shown you felt reports all over Los Angeles, North Hollywood, for example, Colton, California. We showed you felt reports from that 5.1 plus earthquake way down here in Southern California. We've been talking about earthquakes down here for some time. I'm going to show you the seismograms from this area in just a minute. In some ways, they're a little bit disappointing. Okay? They really are. South of that 5.1 earthquake and all the aftershocks from it, just across the border, we have a 1.4 tremor. Back over here in Imperial County, okay? They say this earthquake is 1 mile east-southeast of El Centro. Let's take a look at El Centro, okay? El Centro Naval Air Station, okay? We come down here, they say that this earthquake is east-southeast of El Centro. Folks, this is in El Centro itself. This earthquake is in El Centro itself, right here. It's just northeast of downtown El Centro. Right there is downtown El Centro. It's not east-southeast of anything. Again, USGS needs to get its head out of its butt. Okay? This earthquake here is a 1.5 tremor in El Centro. It's incredible what they say, isn't it? We go north up here, just south of the Salton Sea here. Over here on the northeast corner of the Salton Sea. This is in Nyland, California, just barely northeast of Calipatria. I'm going to show you the seismogram from Calipatria in just a few minutes. This is a 1.3 tremor in Nyland, California. Right there. We get earthquakes and tremors here all the time. Carl Smith says, too many people have their heads up their butts. I agree. Not just USBS. True. That's very true. Linda Covington's in the chat. I love what she just said. Wish the MSM would show live footage of a 6.7 event like dishes flying. Nobody's going to see that unless you have cameras inside your house. Or you're recording it yourself on your phone and the earthquake is hitting and dishes are flying out of the cupboards. That would be interesting footage, wouldn't it? But anyway, you're seeing these earthquakes here. These are up to and including what has happened down here in Ocotillo. We've seen plenty of earthquakes and seismic events, meaning tremors and microquakes here. We have reported on it. Up until today, up until last night, all we had was tiny swarms. I can't even say swarms. Tiny caches of quakes. 1.5, 1.7, 0.3 and such. Now we have at least a 5.1 earthquake. And folks, this may not be all. This may not be all. To quote somebody that used to work for USBS, Little Miss Lucy Jones, who allegedly is retired, and she had also allegedly worked for Caltech after she retired from USBS. Lucy Jones has said that any one earthquake has a 25% chance of being a foreshock of a much larger earthquake. So this 5.1 and all of these other earthquakes here that are happening, all these other aftershocks, could be a foreshock of a much larger earthquake. Now, why am I saying that? Why am I saying that? There's a large group of earthquakes here in Southern California, isn't there? Absolutely there is. Okay? I want to go down here into Mexico. I want to show you what they're not showing us in Mexico. Not one dang earthquake down here in southern Mexico. Not one. Not one earthquake showing in northern Mexico either. Why not? Folks, there are plenty of earthquakes down here in southern Mexico. We've reported on them in the past. USGS almost for 2 years now has not shown us but maybe 1 or 2 earthquakes that have ever happened down here. We have to go to other venues to pull up earthquake information, including the European agency, who's lately, during the past 3 or 4 weeks, not even shown earthquakes here. But we know they're happening. We have people that report earthquakes happening because they live there. There are still 3.4s, 3.7s, 4.0s, and 4.5 earthquakes happening all throughout this region in southern Mexico. Usually 20 to 25 earthquakes every day. Since they're not reporting anything, we can but assume that some of that energy that has come up from southern Mexico has now come up here into southern California. And in fact, we've had 5.0 earthquakes down here in the Gulf of California here. Right here in the central part of the Gulf of California. We've had a lot of them. Folks, seismic activity has been pulling up from southern Mexico for quite some time. This is the San Andreas Fault that you see here in the Gulf of California. This San Andreas Fault here, and I'm pulling this map back to show you where the San Andreas Fault goes to, okay? Look at that line here. It comes out of the Gulf of California, goes up here into northern Mexico. It goes up here into the Imperial Valley. Look where some of these earthquakes are. Look where some of these earthquakes are. Now, if I could enlarge this slide here and show you what's happening in Imperial Valley. You can see the San Andreas Fault. It goes up straight through the middle of the Imperial Valley. Then it halts right about here, just south of the Salton Sea. Then it makes a northeasterly turn. It goes right up here to Nyland, California. Then it goes underneath the Salton Sea here. It comes out of the Salton Sea here at Bombay Beach. This, folks, is Bombay Beach, California, right here. Then it continues running north alongside the Salton Sea here. Okay, let me reduce this here. You can see the San Andreas Fault now. You can see that red line here, the San Andreas Fault here. Okay, you can see where these earthquakes are. This earthquake here, Desert Hot Springs, right next to the San Andreas Fault. This one here, Cabazon, the San Andreas Fault. We can see the San Andreas Fault running through Central California here. Okay? Here, the San Andreas Fault touches the southern edge of the Garlock Fault here. The Garlock Fault leaves the San Andreas Fault and runs northeast. It runs northeast up here to Searles Valley and Ridgecrest. Okay? Searles Valley has a 1.2 tremor here. Ridgecrest is 0.7 microquake here, 9 miles northeast of Ridgecrest. This earthquake here is a 0.6 microquake. Searles Valley. This is a 1.3 in Little Lake, California. This is the Mojave Desert, guys. This is also an earthquake fault. Also, it runs straight up northeast here into the Cozo Volcanic Range, Cozo Junction. Okay, Devil's Kitchen. This is a 1.2 tremor here in Little Lake, California. Going back down here to the San Andreas Fault. Okay, you can see the San Andreas Fault continuing north. USBS is not showing many of the earthquakes that have hit here. Heaven forbid. USGS is showing this in just off the coast of Carpinteria, California. This is a 2.4 minor earthquake off the coast of Carpinteria, California. The San Andreas Fault continues to run north here. You can see it. This earthquake here is in Kettleman City. Kettleman City just happens to be one, a volcanic area. Two, Kettleman City also has oil and gas pumping operations going on. Just so you know, this is a 2.4 minor earthquake in Kettleman City, or just outside of Kettleman City. This is Lemoore, California. We've had 5.0, 5.5, and 5.6 earthquakes here in Lemoore. This is a 2.5 minor earthquake here today. Okay, going back down here to the San Andreas Fault. This is San Ardo, California, right on top of the fault. A 1.6 tremor here. Over at the coast, just barely southwest or northwest of where this earthquake is Lopez Point. Lopez Point. It's just south of San Francisco Bay. Earlier today, I was on the horn with Rob52, as you guys know him, on the chat here. I was thinking that this Lopez Point was north of San Francisco Bay. It's not. It's south of San Francisco Bay, and in fact, it's south of Monterey Bay here. A 2.0 earthquake there. We continue going up the San Andreas Fault. It runs northwest here, east of Monterey Bay. We can go out here east of there where we meet the Calaveras Fault here. Calaveras Fault and this other fault, okay, there's 3 faults here in this area. The Hayward Fault and the Calaveras. This is on the Calaveras. Tres Pinos, a 1.4 earthquake. This is 16 miles northeast of Tres Pinos. I actually believe that Tres Pinos is right here on the San Andreas Fault. I believe this is Tres Pinos right here. Okay, so this earthquake is actually east of Tres Pinos. It's a 1.4 tremor. We continue going up north here. The Hayward Fault, Morgan Hill, California, a 1.2 tremor. Also here on the Hayward Fault, we have Seven Trees, California, a 1.3 tremor here. We continue running north here, and we're going to go west of San Francisco Bay. Earlier today, we had earthquakes over here west of the San Francisco Bay near the San Francisco Zoo here. Right here. Folks, right here is where the San Andreas Fault runs west of San Francisco Bay, west of the entrance to San Francisco Bay. Okay? Look where it goes here. It literally straddles the coast here. Okay? Look at this. Then it goes out into the water here. It straddles the coast in the water here, and again it goes inland. Okay? It follows the coast here. Northern California. Just east of the San Andreas Fault here, we have Petrolia, California. 8 miles east of Petrolia, California. Another 1.6 tremor here. It's east of the San Andreas Fault. Then the San Andreas Fault goes out here into the North Pacific here. It meets up at the Triple Junction where the San Andreas Fault begins, connecting with the Cascadia Subduction Zone and the Gorda Escarpment. There is another earthquake fault, an earthquake superhighway that runs straight west away from the coast. Okay? This is all part of the Cascadia Subduction Zone. This is the southern end of the Cascadia Subduction Zone. So what I've explained to you now is the San Andreas Fault runs from Northern California out here, connects with the Cascadia Subduction Zone, and runs all the way south through California, down through northern Mexico, out into the Gulf of California, and then it runs along the coast of southern Mexico. It's no wonder we have earthquakes down in southern Mexico. It's no wonder we have earthquakes from southern Mexico that reach up into southern California. That's what I believe we witnessed early this morning down in southern California. Okay? Just for kicks and giggles, since we've talked about this most of the week, let's go over here. Okay? USGS has this microquake 23 miles north-northeast of Amboy, Washington. Let's see where this earthquake really is. Oh my gosh, guys, multiple earthquakes at Mount St. Helens. This is nothing anywhere close to Amboy, Washington. This is Mount St. Helens. A 0.2 microquake at Mount St. Helens. A 0.2 microquake at Mount St. Helens. And another 0.6 microquake at Mount St. Helens. This is nowhere near Amboy, Washington. Again, this is at a volcano, and USGS refuses to tell us where these earthquakes are. They want to slap us upside the head and say, oh, these are northeast of Amboy, Washington. USGS, you need to get off your butts, your sorry black-faced butts, and start telling the truth. These earthquakes are over on the south side of this crater. The last time this volcano erupted, it blew out the northern side of this crater. It lost 1,300 feet off the top of this volcano. 1,300 feet lost as this volcano erupted. Now we have all of these earthquakes over on the southeast side or southwest side of this volcano. Yesterday, every one of the earthquakes that we showed you was here at the rim of Mount St. Helens. And they tried to pass those earthquakes off as northeast of Amboy, Washington. Folks, this earthquake that I have highlighted here, this is 0.2 of a mile down inside the volcano. This is just below the plug of Mount St. Helens. You can see the plug very clearly there. That piece of lava rock is the plug of the volcano when this volcano erupted last. The molten lava that was here solidified. There's now a plug at the volcano, and the plug is still rising because the volcano is pushing up magma from underneath. That's why the summit of this volcano is rising. This microquake today is 0.2 of a mile below that plug. Magma inside the volcano. Let's look at this one. This is a little bit different. It's also a 0.2 microquake, but this is 5 miles deep, if we can trust USGS. 5 miles deep inside this volcano. This is off to the side of the plug. Folks, just because we have a plug here does not mean that this is the only place where magma is. The magma is down inside the summit of this volcano. It's a deep, wide, lengthy volcano summit, meaning that the volcanic chamber beneath this plug is probably just as wide, just as long. Okay? Let's look at this other earthquake here, just so you can get an idea of what we're talking about here. Now, USGS just froze us out. So I'm going to bring it up to date here, because this is what you have to do to USGS when they cut you off. You have to unplug from USGS and then reinstate the information, which I'm doing right now. And when it comes up here, I'm going to go right back up north here and show you what's going on here at Mount St. Helens. Then we're going to go north again. Okay? Again, look where this other earthquake is. And they're right in, I might show you this too, they're right in line with each other going east and west. This is also a 0.2 here, as we told you. This happens to be 5.3 miles deep, even deeper than the one in the middle. 5.3 miles deep. This one over on top of the plug is 0.2 of a mile deep. Right, the magma is right beneath the plug. That's why we're getting this seismic event here. But what they're not showing you are all the other earthquakes and all the other tremors and microquakes that are hitting here. If I went into the seismogram here, I would pull a lot more than just microquakes. We'd see tremors and full-blown earthquakes here at Mount St. Helens. They are lying to us about what's going on here. This earthquake here, Mossy Rock, Washington, 4 miles northeast of Mossy Rock, Washington. This is a 1.3 tremor, 7.2 miles deep. Okay? Not all, folks. We're not done yet. Let's go over here. What do we have here? This is southeastern Alaska. What do you think is going on here? Folks, let's go in here. Let's find out. We just happen to have a volcano here. Wardell Volcano. A 1.4 earthquake here. They say this is 18 miles northwest of Sitka. That's interesting. Sitka volcano is also over here. 2 volcanoes that have been moving. 2 volcanoes that continue to move. And yet they're not going to tell us about it. They're only going to tell us, oh, there's an 18-mile long area between where this earthquake was and where the other volcano is. 1.4 tremor there. This is 7/10 of a mile deep. Magma 7/10 of a mile deep. Out here in the ocean, what is this? Okay, what do you think this is? This is an earthquake on top of an earthquake fault. This is a 0.8 microquake. This is 17 miles deep. Where does this earthquake fault go to? Let's take a look. It runs all the way south here. Oh, look, Queen Charlotte Island. Queen Charlotte Island. And the fault line continues south. Oh my gosh, the Cascadia subduction zone. And guess what else? The Juan de Fuca fault. The Juan de Fuca fault. So we have seismic energy coming out of Alaska here. This seismic event being 0.8 microquake, it's coming down out of Alaska, isn't it? It's going south. Seismic energy is being released out of Alaska here. Something else happened up here in Alaska today. Let's go up here and find out what happened here. Okay? What else happened here? What is this, guys? What do you think this is? It's Denali National Park. This is a large 5.0 earthquake up here in southeastern part of Denali National Park. USBS says this is a 5.0, 33 miles northeast of Petersville, Alaska. Again, they're refusing to identify where this earthquake really is. Southeast Denali National Park. We have one tremor here, a 1.6. This is a 1.5. This is 42 miles deep. This one here is 61 miles deep. And guess what this is? This is the main shaker. This is also 62 miles deep. Isn't it interesting? We have an aftershock here to that earthquake that's 62 miles deep. And we have this other aftershock here that's 42 miles deep, 20 miles higher than the other two earthquakes. Can we say, and I think we can safely say what I'm going to say here, is this earthquake is further distant from this 5.0. It's at less of an elevation here in Denali National Park. So this indeed could be 20 miles shallower than what those other two earthquakes are. Okay, I'm just reasoning here. Up here on the northern side of Mount McKinley, we have a 1.6. USGS has also not correctly identified the location of this earthquake. They say it's southeast of Denali. It's not. It's on the northwestern side of Denali, north of Mount McKinley. A 1.6 tremor. It's also 76 miles deep. This is a 1.92.0. Also up here in northern Denali National Park. USBS is saying that this is in central Alaska. Central Alaska, 42 miles deep. Okay? It's not in central Alaska at all. Let's back out here. I'm about to show you central Alaska. Way up here. That earthquake in northern Denali National Park is in northern Denali National Park, not central Alaska at all. USBS is calling this a 1.6 earthquake in northern Alaska. Folks, this is closer to central Alaska. Northern Alaska is up here. This grayish-brown area that you see here is the Arctic Circle. The Arctic Circle. And just south of the Arctic Circle, we have Arctic Alaska. A tiny town named Arctic, Alaska. But the Arctic Circle is way up here. This is northern Alaska. Okay? So what they're doing here is incorrectly identifying locations of the seismic events. Again, this is not the first time, nor will it be the last, because USBS continues to lie to us, misrepresent information. Demon Cat says in the chat he was watching Mary Greeley right before I came on. Great timing. By the way, guys, I love Mary Greeley. She's a wonderful lady. Okay? She's a wonderful lady that can be trusted, especially when it comes to events in Yellowstone. Now, I don't necessarily agree sometimes on her timing when it comes to the events that happened in Yellowstone, because she frequently tells us that, folks, we're going to have an eruption at Yellowstone very soon. I don't think that's the case. That's the only place where Mary and I disagree. She's a great lady. She is better than any USGS person ever. Okay? They ought to put her in charge of Yellowstone, the Yellowstone Volcanic Observatory. She's got more credibility than anybody anywhere in USGS. Okay? True story. We have an earthquake that just happened here in Alaska, the Kenai Peninsula. Okay? This is actually southeast of the Cook Inlet here. This is the Cook Inlet. This earthquake is southeast of the Cook Inlet. A 2.5 earthquake here. Okay? Up here, We have a 1.5 tremor here. They call it 10 miles west-southwest of Hope, Alaska. I don't necessarily know where Hope, Alaska is, so I can't confirm or deny where that earthquake is. However, we can show where it's at. Okay? We can show exactly where it's at. Across the water here is Anchorage, Alaska. Anchorage, Alaska. Yes, we continue to see activity north and west of Anchorage. This is a 1.7 tremor. This is a 1.6, and they're calling this Southern Alaska. Okay, Southern Alaska. Folks, there are a lot of places in Southern Alaska. Ellendorf Air Force Base. I wonder where that is. It's here too. Okay, this is a 1.6 tremor here. This is a 2.0 earthquake, also in Southern Alaska. This is a 1.6. They're calling this 8 miles north-northwest of Big Lake, Alaska. If that's the case, this must be Big Lake, Alaska. Okay? It's about the same distance that earthquake is from allegedly Big Lake, Alaska. Let's look at it. There's Big Lake. Bingo. Okay? This is a 1.7 tremor 3 miles northeast of Big Lake, Alaska. No, it's not 3 miles northwest of anything, or northeast. It's actually not northeast of Big Lake at all. It's at Big Lake, Alaska right here. It's there. Okay? This seismic event here, Southern Alaska, okay. Why not call it north of Big Lake, Alaska? That would be more realistic. This earthquake here says it's 8 miles north-northwest of Big Lake. I believe it's a lot further than that. Okay? Just saying. I'm just saying. What USGS says and what actually happens are usually two different things. Now, we don't have much happening except right here. USBS is saying this is a 2.3 earthquake in Southern Alaska. Well, folks, guess what? We have Mount Redoubt. Mount Redoubt is right there. A 2.3 earthquake at Mount Redoubt, not just at Southern Alaska. Okay? Let's be serious here. This is a 1.0. They say this is 30 miles east-northeast of Pedro Bay, Alaska. It's not east-northeast of Pedro Bay. It's right there. Again, they can't get their act straight here. Down here is Old Ililama Volcano. A 0.5 tremor there, microquake, and a minus 0.1 here. They say this is Alaska Peninsula. No, it's not. This earthquake here, it's not even a microquake. It's a minus 0.1, which means it's above sea level. Okay? It's an earthquake above sea level just south of Old Ililama Volcano, right here. Right there. Old Ililama Volcano. Old Ililama Volcano's been steaming. Old Ililama Volcano has been rocking and rolling. Not big earthquakes, but tremors all over the place. Swarms of tremors at Old Ililama Volcano. Interesting. Interesting enough. What do we have down here? A 1.0 tremor here. Adak, Alaska. What do we have? A volcano. a volcano. This is just east of that volcano, a 1.0 tremor. Right here, Andreanoff Islands, a 1.0 tremor here. Interesting. We go further west here. Okay, this is Attu Station, Alaska. This is a moderate 4.5 earthquake here. 52 miles south of Attu Station, Alaska. Cool. Cool. We have seismic energy crossing the Aleutian Islands. Yes, it's moving eastbound over here into Alaska. Okay? Then, we want to come over here to Honshu, Japan. Another new earthquake that just hit. They're calling this Eastern Honshu. It looks like it's Northern Honshu. Okay? A 4.4 earthquake here, moderate earthquake. A moderate earthquake in the hills around Honshu. It's just north of a lake. I don't know what lake it is. But a 4.4 earthquake, 21 miles deep. 21 miles deep. If there's anybody that lives near there, they probably felt the ground move. If they had any books on bookshelves, it might have knocked off the books up onto the floor. Or rattled the pictures on the walls. Or knocked the pictures on the walls off the walls onto the floors. That's what moderate earthquakes do. Okay? Depending on what's underneath that earthquake, where that earthquake is when you're going to feel that earthquake. This earthquake, folks, is 70 miles deep. Still a fairly shallow earthquake. It just happened within the last 20-30 minutes. This earthquake is just off the coast of Honshu here. Okay? This is a 4.7 earthquake. A 4.7 earthquake. 32.5 miles deep. Then we go down here to Tokyo. Tokyo, Japan. Now, I'm not making fun of people in Japan. I'm not. I love the people in Japan. I have friends living there. American and Japanese friends living here. Folks, this is a 4.5 moderate earthquake here near Tokyo, Japan. Probably right in the heart of Tokyo, Japan. This is a 40-mile deep earthquake. A 40-mile deep earthquake. People here saw things knocked off of shelves and off of walls here. This is a heavily populated area, as you can see. It's very dense. Very dense population here. Oh, it looks like there's rice paddies here, but still, there's quite a few people living here. There's agriculture going on, not just rice paddies, but agriculture going on here. But it's right here, outside of Tokyo, it looks like. Just so you know. There are earthquakes here in Japan that USGS is actually showing us this time. We go down to Taiwan. Okay? Usually I start down in the South Pacific because what happened here in Southern California earlier today, I want to show you that first because that's what makes a difference here. Richard Smith says a 5.6 in the Bay of Bengal, down in the Indian Ocean. We're going to get to that. Okay? Just off the coast of Taiwan today. Literally just off the coast. I want to show you this. Look what we have here. This is a 4.5 earthquake in the water. In the water. Now, I don't believe that anybody felt this earthquake. Just for kicks and giggles. Let's find, well, they're not going to let me find out either. Okay? They won't let me click into it. But a 4.5 moderate earthquake here. In the water, I don't think anybody felt that earthquake. The waters here absorbed the earthquake seismic energy. Okay? We go south into Indonesia. This is so wrong. This is so wrong. This is Seram, Indonesia, or Seram, Indonesia. A large 5.1. The same kind of earthquake that hit Imperial County, California earlier today. Seram, Indonesia, 5.1 earthquake. Look where it hit. Just barely off the coast here. This is 14 miles deep. This is a 4.7. A moderate earthquake here, right next to the coast. Now, folks, if anybody lives in any villages here in Seram, Indonesia, they may have felt some rumbling here. For the most part, any seismic energy here was absorbed by the water, but there may have been some other energy here along with that earthquake that was felt here on the shoreline of Seram, Indonesia. Okay? In fact, it looks like this is a port city here. So they may have felt some of the shaking. Okay? I'm just saying. They may have felt some of that shaking. It's probably 50 miles offshore from this town. I have no idea what town that is. I haven't gone in and checked the name of that town. But if anybody lives anywhere near there, they may have felt a tiny bit of shaking there. Okay? But that's not the only earthquakes that are here. There are dozens of earthquakes, at least 2 dozen earthquakes here in Indonesia and the Philippines that USGS has not identified. Because heaven forbid they tell us the truth. Over here, this is right on the edge of the plate here. You can see the earthquake fault here, the edge of the plate. This is a 4.3 here in the Valdese Sea. This is also probably an aftershock of the 6.9 earthquake that was here just a few weeks ago. An aftershock. This is also 237 miles deep. A fairly deep earthquake. A fairly deep earthquake. Okay? It's not really deep, but it's fairly deep. If it was deep, it would be 539 miles deep, like we've seen some of the deep earthquakes here. Okay? That earthquake in the Bay of Bengal, USGS has not even got here on the map yet. This is a 4.2 here in Zheifang, China. A moderate 4.2. This is, and I saw this come in earlier today. This is a large 5.4 near Lao Jingchongnao, China. I know I can't pronounce that name in Chinese. The nearest I'm going to come is Lao Jingjiao, China. That might be pretty close. I don't know. Laogunmiao. Lao Jingjiao, China. Okay? 47 miles south-southwest of Lao Jingjiao, China. Okay? At least I tried. Again, the Bay of Bengal over here, they're not putting this earthquake here. There's the Bay of Bengal right there. They're not showing anything here. Why? Inquiring minds want to know why. We're finding it on the feeds. Why are we not seeing it on the map? Okay? Interesting. Interesting enough here. Okay? We're seeing a lot of information here. A 5.6, that's a big earthquake. That's a very large earthquake. A 5.6. You'd think they'd show it here. Okay? You'd think they'd show it. I'm going to go here through the Middle East. Not one darn earthquake being shown. Earlier today, right here in the Syrian-Turkey border area, we had a 4.6 earthquake. There's about a dozen earthquakes here in this area. Why? They are all aftershocks of a 9.0, 10.0 earthquake that happened here earlier this year. It left over 5,000 people dead and at least that many injured, and billions of dollars in damage to infrastructure, buildings, and lives all over. There are still humanitarian aid that are coming in here to this area. Okay? Still is. Over here in Turkey, earthquakes all over the place. Literally. Not being shown here. The Volcanic Islands just offshore from eastern Turkey or western Turkey here. These belong to Greece. There are earthquakes here. Folks, right down here south of Crete. This is a 4.3 moderate earthquake here. This is 6 miles deep, 10 kilometers deep. Interesting how that goes. There are earthquakes here in Greece that they're not telling us about. Earthquakes all over here they're not telling us about. Earthquakes here in Italy they're not telling us about. Earthquakes over here in Romania, Croatia, the Czech Republic. Earthquakes are over here in Germany, Switzerland, Austria, in the Alps, the French, Swiss, and Italian Alps. Earthquakes here, mostly 1s and 2s here in the Austrian, Swiss, German, and Italian Alps. They're not showing us them. Over here in France, there are several earthquakes here in France they're also not telling us about. What else is new, right? It's got to be aggravating for people that live in this area because they're feeling them. The agency's not telling them. Linda Covington says, just notice Mr. Ron is not wearing his oxygen tonight. That's great. Let me show you something, guys. I feel great. Okay? I want to show you something. This is pretty cool. I want to show you this. Okay, this is a pulse oximeter. The top number here is the amount of oxygen that my body's getting. Anything above 90 is fine. Uh-oh, it just dropped to 88. That's not good. I think I might put my oxygen on, but my heart rate is fine. My heart rate is fine. I'm going to put my oxygen on, but up until now, my oxygen level has been fine. Okay? I've gotten away now without wearing oxygen for nearly 2 hours. I feel great. Over here in Spain, we have a few earthquakes here in southern Spain. They're not telling us about those either. Over here near Gibraltar, several earthquakes here and in the Azores here. Not telling us about. A couple of earthquakes down here in the Canary Islands. Not telling us about those either. I wonder why. Earthquakes over here near the Great James Peninsula here. Why? We all know why. We've got a volcano that's about to erupt here. I should have an update probably tomorrow morning of what exactly is going on here near Grindavik, Alaska. Or not Alaska, I'm sorry, Grindavik, Iceland. Boy, that was a Freudian slip. Grindavik, Iceland right here. Okay? A town of about 4,000 people. Okay? We've got a volcano here. The magma is just down over here. Okay? Down over in this area. It looks to be that the magma dike has moved up here to the north of Grindavik. However, the last couple days we've had some earthquakes here in Grindavik, which means the magma dike here beneath Grindavik is moving up. Not a good thing. Like I said, in the next day or so we should have an update from Grindavik, Iceland. Okay? But we have earthquakes here that they're not telling us about. What else is new? Okay? Anyway, this is the Mid-Atlantic Fault. The Mid-Atlantic Fault cuts Iceland literally in half. What's going on with the Mid-Atlantic Fault? We have earthquakes. Naturally, we would have earthquakes. Why? Because the Mid-Atlantic Fault is expanding. It's pushing Europe eastbound. It's pushing North America in a southwesterly direction, putting a lot of pressure on the North American fault, the North American plate. Okay? Down here, I want to start down here right now. Down here in Puerto Rico. Okay? Up here, and this is the Cayman Ridge, a huge earthquake fault running out of Guatemala. We've talked a lot about it this week. Look at this cluster of earthquakes here. In the last week or so, we had a 5.0 earthquake here. This is a 2.8 earthquake, minor earthquake. This is a 3.9, 4.0. On the Cayman Ridge. This is also a 4.0 here on the Cayman Ridge itself. 25 miles deep. This earthquake here is 40 miles deep. 20 miles deep, 40 miles deep. Isn't that interesting? One earthquake is way down inside the trench here. This earthquake on the north side of the Cayman Ridge, this is a 3.8. 109 miles, allegedly 109 miles north-northeast of the U.S. British Virgin Islands. Okay? South of those other earthquakes, we have a 2.8. This is a 3.8. Okay? They have this is 91 miles north of Cruz Bay, U.S. British Virgin Islands. Okay? Down here, this is a 3.3. They say this is 42 miles north of Charlotte Amalie, U.S. British Virgin Islands. Folks, guess what? I hate to burst anybody's bubble. This may be further out from the U.S. and U.S. and British Virgin Islands here. You can see where it's at. You can see where it's at. We also have an earthquake over here that dropped off the Cayman Ridge here. This is a 3.4 north of Puerto Rico. Probably about 100 miles north of Puerto Rico, eastern Puerto Rico here. Down here on the southern side of Puerto Rico, we have a 2.6. Over here in southwestern Puerto Rico, we have some aftershocks of an 8.0 and an 8.4 earthquake that happened here 4 years ago. Nearly 4 years ago, give or take a few days. Those two earthquakes, the 8.0 happened on December 26th. The 8.4 happened on December 28th. Okay? Here, we have a 2.0. Los Indios, Puerto Rico. This is a 2.2. This is a 3.0. The 2.2 is near Guanica, Puerto Rico. This is a 3.0, 6 miles south of Guanica. USGS has this as south-southeast. No, it's not. It's south of Guanica. Okay? This earthquake here, it's a 2.0, 7 miles deep. This 3.0, 8.5 miles deep. This 2.2, 8 miles deep. This 2.0, 10 miles deep. Interesting. This earthquake up here in northwestern Puerto Rico, I don't believe has anything to do with those earthquakes that I just told you about. This is separate and distinct from that. This is a 2.8 earthquake up here in Espino, Puerto Rico. 1 mile east-southeast of Espino, Puerto Rico, if we get the directions right. This is also 9.5 miles deep. Okay? Now that's not the only one that happened. I'm sorry I pulled this out too far. This earthquake is over here on the edge of the North American plate, the southern edge of the North American plate. It is just south of the Dominican Republic. This just happened. This is a 3.6 earthquake, 6.2 miles deep, 10 kilometers deep. Now, I'm going to repeat something that I've talked about before. When USGS says something is 6.2 miles deep or 10 kilometers deep, they may have just thrown that number in there, meaning they did no research. There's plenty of seismic stations all around that region. They know exactly how deep these earthquakes are. They're just refusing to tell us what exactly is going on. Plain and simple. Okay? Let's go over here into the eastern side of the Great Lakes of the U.S. Madison, Ohio. Madison, Ohio, right near Lake Erie. This is a 2.3 earthquake right on the edge of Lake Erie. Folks, there's two things going on here. There's an earthquake fault out in Lake Erie, just north of the shoreline. A long earthquake fault running right along parallel to the southern shoreline of Lake Erie. Second, they are mining salt down in salt caves beneath the surface here. So this might be related to that. But if it's not, it might be related to that earthquake fault here in Lake Erie. We found that to be the case many times. This is not the first time we've had an earthquake there near Madison, Ohio, near Lake Erie. Yesterday we gave you information about the New Madrid Fault. We talked about Marston, Missouri. We had some minor earthquakes and tremors here at Marston. Today we have a 2.5 earthquake here in Marston, Missouri. Interesting. This is the center of the New Madrid Fault. Okay? Interesting. Over here, this is southeastern Oklahoma. Wardville, Oklahoma. This is a 1.8 tremor here. 1.8 tremor. It happens to be 2 miles deep. 2 miles deep. Does anybody have any idea why this earthquake happened? Anybody want to take some guesses why this earthquake happened? Look at the area here. Look at the area. I believe this is an earthquake fault if I'm not mistaken. I believe that's an earthquake fault. In this case, I don't believe that this is an oil and gas quake here. A 1.8 tremor here. 6 miles west of Wardville, Oklahoma. Okay? All over Oklahoma, we have oil and gas pumping operations. 586,000 pumps and jacks here in Oklahoma. Happens all the time. Up here, I want to show you this. This is pretty amazing here. USBS, and I'm going to call them BS on this, it's a 1.7 tremor here, 1 mile northeast of Cole, Oklahoma. Really? Really? Northeast of Cole, Oklahoma? How about southwest of Cole, Oklahoma? Cole, Oklahoma is right there. That's a 1.7. That's a 1.3. And this is a 1.5. That 1.5 is 4 miles deep. This 1.3 is 3.5 miles deep. And this 1.7 is just over 3 miles deep here. I wonder why. There's actually 4 earthquakes here. I wonder why. Okay? It doesn't look like this might be an oil and gas quake. However, if there's a quake anywhere from 6 to 10 miles away from an oil and gas platform, it might be an oil and gas quake. Well, guys, look what this is. I believe that white place right there is probably oil and gas. Down here to the south, we have oil and gas here. Okay? This probably is an oil and gas quake. Let's go west here. Okay? This is a 1.1 tremor here. Okay? 5.5 miles deep. What do we have here? This is right in the middle of an oil and gas field here. That's what this is. Over here, this is a 1.3. Also, they say this is northeast of Cole. No, it's not. It's southwest of Cole, Oklahoma. They still can't get it right. Okay? Oil and gas quakes here. Oil and gas quakes. This one down south here. Okay? They have this as a 1.5 here in Oklahoma. Well, folks, let's look at this. Okay? Right here. See this river here? Many times rivers are on top of fault lines. Many times rivers are on top of fault lines. That's what I believe this earthquake is. This is on the fault line. This is right alongside the fault line. Right there. A 1.5 tremor alongside the fault line. There are plenty of oil and gas pumps and jacks around, but that, I believe, is right alongside the fault line. Okay? That's what's going on in Oklahoma. Wonderful thing, huh? Let's drop south over here to southwestern Texas. A 2.2 minor earthquake. Well, glory be. A 2.2 earthquake. Down here in southwestern Texas, we're still seeing swarms. Swarms and swarms of earthquakes. What is going on? 2.0. 1.6. 1.9, 2.0. 1.6, Toya, Texas there. This, folks, is a 1.7. Right next to it is a bit bigger earthquake. A 3.4 small earthquake here. This is a 1.9. This is southwestern Texas, right in the middle of Pump Jack City. Look at all these pumps and jacks all over here. USGS wants us to believe it's in southern New Mexico. It's not. It's not in White City, New Mexico. This is in Texas. Every time they've labeled something as in southwestern New Mexico, they're wrong. It's not. Let's go over here. Again, they're labeling this as western Texas. A 2.0 earthquake, 5 miles deep. 1.5 tremor here, right next to this one supposedly in Texas. Again, they're calling this 18 miles south of White City, New Mexico. It's not. They are absolutely lying about the location here. Again, very typical. We go north, a 2.5 earthquake here. Okay, what do we have out here to the east? Oil and gas pumping operations here. If you have an earthquake within 6 to 10 miles of a pumping operation, it's an oil and gas quake. An oil and gas quake. Okay? That's what's going on there. We go south here. This is also western Texas. This one here, they said was in White City, New Mexico. No, sorry. Here's a 2.0 in western Texas. 1.5 miles deep. This one down south here, a 1.5. 1.8 miles deep. Southwestern Texas, swarms of earthquakes. Swarms of earthquakes. We may have another 5.0 earthquake that's going to hit this region very soon. Okay? Very soon. It happened last time. It might happen again. Okay? It may happen again. Okay? Now we're back here in Southern California. North of there, way north of there, about 400 miles north of there, 500 miles north of there. Okay? Utah. Utah, folks. Black Rock Desert Volcano. Black Rock Desert Volcano. We've got swarms of earthquakes happening here. 1.8. 1.8. Canaryville, Utah. 2.6. 1.7. 3.9. 4.0 earthquake there, guys. 7 miles deep. 1.2. Again, we have volcanoes here. We have volcanoes here. This may very well be a volcanic situation. It's right here at the Black Rock Desert Volcano. It's right there, right in the middle of Volcano Alley here. Canaryville, Utah. Okay? North of there, quite a distance north of there, Central Utah, Milford, Utah. Today we have one lone quake here. They have this one as a minus 0.7, meaning above sea level here. A great part of Utah is desert, sometimes as low as Death Valley. Okay? This is a minus 0.7. This is also Volcano Alley. I have been digging here at this volcano. I dug here for fossils here near Milford, Utah. This whole area here is volcanic. Okay? It's all volcanic. It's incredible. It's crazy. Hey guys, hey Rob, I appreciate you bringing that to my notice, because USGS, or not USGS, YouTube changed the date. I had it right as December 1st before I went on the air. So I'm going to have to go back and check it and change it again. Sorry about that, guys. As soon as we go off the air, I'll change it back to December 1st. YouTube keeps playing games here. Okay? Going up here into Montana and Idaho. Okay? This happens to be Lima, Montana. Lima, Montana. A 0.8 microquake. I don't believe this has anything to do with West Yellowstone other than being in the western side of the Yellowstone magma chamber. Right here we have a 0.4 in Yellowstone Park. A 0.4 in Yellowstone Park right here. You see Yellowstone Lake here and Big Thumb here of Yellowstone Lake. Folks, where's this earthquake? Hebgen Lake Estates. We talked about this yesterday. Hebgen Lake Estates. It's a 0.4 microquake. It happens to be 9 miles deep. Down in the magma chamber, I believe. Down in the magma chamber here near Hebgen Lake. Southeast of Hebgen Lake. Okay? Further north here, 1.4 in western Montana. Borderline of Idaho here. Way up north. This is a place that I've never heard of. Lindisfarne, Montana. Lindisfarne. Lindisfarne, Montana. We have here a 1.1 tremor here. Okay? I've taken you on a tour of the world. I started off here, way down here in the Imperial Valley, showing you this earthquake here. I believe this was not a 4.8 as they put it down to. I showed you at the beginning of the program that they did not have any data at all on any of the sensors that reported these quakes. Nothing. They were not showing any data whatsoever. They're not showing it because they're covering up the data. Heaven forbid they tell anybody exactly what's going on here. Now, a while back I was criticized because I was reporting all these earthquakes all over the Imperial Valley here. Well, folks, there are multiple faults all over here in the Imperial Valley, not just the San Andreas. Multiple faults. The Holtville fault, for example. But there are many others here. Yes, there are faults. But quite honestly, what is really going on? What's really going on? This earthquake here could technically be attributed to the San Jacinto fault. It could technically be connected to the San Jacinto fault, and it might very well be. It remains to be seen what happens here. Again, like I said, this could be something bigger. There's a 25% chance that this was a foreshock of a much larger quake. It could be. That also remains to be seen what's going to happen here. Okay? I'm just saying. It remains to be seen here. Now, I want to show you something else here. want to go down here to El Centro. Okay? I want to show you this. This is a seismogram from El Centro. Now, this seismogram starts off at 4 o'clock this morning. This earthquake happened just after 11 p.m. last night. We don't have any definitive seismic information about this 5.0, 5.1 earthquake because they've stopped the information. I tried pulling up the seismic data on this earthquake from last night. There is none. Why? Because if you look down here at the bottom, look down here at the bottom, the seismogram stops at 1600 hours, which is 4 p.m. They do not show anything after that or before that, right, except right in here. But again, they don't show anything during the night hours. Not at all. Over here on the top right, you're seeing one of the aftershocks. This case, it's at least a 3.0 aftershock. Multiple earthquakes at that. Look how many earthquakes are there. 4 or 5, back to back to back. Look at that secondary wave off to the right. The secondary wave, guys, lasts out about a minute and a half. This earthquake was larger than a 3.0. Probably a 3.5, 3.8. Just saying. That's El Centro. Okay? Let me show you another one here. Might blow you away. Let's show you Imperial. This is almost directly east of where this quake was in Ocotillo. Again, we're showing you that same quake that we showed you on the El Centro seismogram. This one is southeast of El Centro. Okay? Probably about 10 miles southeast of El Centro in the town of Imperial. We're still seeing this earthquake. And the secondary wave here. That secondary wave lasts a good minute and a half. Again, probably close to 3.8 earthquake. An aftershock. Look at the other tremors here. Literally all day long. Okay? Well, many of these tremors are not felt. Imperial felt that earthquake. They felt that earthquake. Now, I want to show you this other one at Bombay Beach. Earlier tonight, I showed you where Bombay Beach is, over here on the east side of the Salton Sea. Look at the earthquakes here. Okay? Several of these earthquakes have been topped and bottomed off. Okay? Some of these earthquakes lasted 3 minutes long. They lasted 3 minutes. What's up with that? There's a lot of activity here. Most of this is on the San Andreas Fault. Most all of this is on the San Andreas Fault. Meaning the San Andreas Fault is kicking up dust here. What's going on? I'll tell you what's going on, guys. The United States Geological Survey is hiding data. Why? The San Andreas Fault is going to give way. It's literally when. Not if. It's when. This seismogram, as I've reported earlier, is from Calipatria. Today. This seismogram started being recorded at 3 p.m. yesterday. It's recorded up until 6:45 yesterday evening. Then they shut off the seismograph. They shut off the dadgum seismograph. That earthquake hit approximately 23 hours, meaning 11:23 p.m. last night. The same time period that the seismograph was turned off. There is no seismographic evidence of this quake ever happening. Not on Calipatria or any of the other seismograms. Look here. Look what they've done here. Okay? They turned this seismograph back on just after 7:15 this morning. Then they turned it off abruptly again. They kept it off for 10 minutes. The last 4 minutes of that time period are over on the right-hand side. And you can see a couple of tremors there, right? Look at the tremors after that. From 7:30 on. From 7:30 on through the afternoon into 2:30 time period. They're hiding data, folks. They're hiding data. This seismograph here used to show 24 hours of data. They're hiding the data. Why? There's something much larger going on here. There's a larger earthquake coming, and they're hiding the data that shows it. They're literally hiding the data that shows it. I'm convinced that's what's going on. There's no other explanation for it. All the Caltech seismographs show the same thing. The seismograms show the exact same information. They either start the seismograms at 5 a.m. in the morning and shut them off at 3 or 4. And if that's the case, they don't always show all the information. Okay? I've shown them to you. I've shown you all the data. It's all there. I haven't changed any names. I haven't changed any data. I can't. It's factual data right from the seismograms. Okay? It's incredible. That's what's going on. Does anybody have any questions for me? Okay? I know I've gone through here fairly rapidly, and I'm sorry. There's a large amount of data that I wanted to show you tonight. Okay? It means a lot. It means a lot. Now, folks, we told you last night that we had had 3 CMEs that were launched from the sun on Sunday. Those CMEs have gotten to Earth. Tonight, the Halo CME is going to hit the Earth. And it probably already is. We may see auroras down into the central United States tonight, if there's no cloud cover. Here where I live in North Carolina, there's plenty of cloud cover. Tons of cloud cover. We've had rain all day long, and it's going into tomorrow and Sunday. So we may not see any CMEs at all. Menacing Muskrat is questioning me, do you know Morse code? I do. I don't practice Morse code myself. I haven't practiced it actively since I was in high school and college. Okay? I do know pretty much Morse code. I can figure it out. It's fairly easy if you've been studying it at all. Anyway, guys, we have geomagnetic storms. The CMEs, the electromagnetic pulses, are coming through the atmosphere. The plasma radiation is coming through the atmosphere. We're going to see geomagnetic storms and auroras tonight. The plasma radiation from the CMEs is reaching the surface and also the center core of the Earth. We're going to see more stronger earthquakes all over. I promise you they're going to be all over. I urge each one of you to take heed to where you're at. Find out yourself where you are at. You need to really take heed of what's going on. Whether or not you live where some of these large or very strong earthquakes are going to happen, but they are going to happen. I can guarantee you that. I just checked the USGS map. They still don't have the 5.6 in the Bay of Bengal here. Again, they're hiding data. Terrible thing. But each one of us should know where we're at. We should have an emergency preparedness kit. We talked to you about emergency preparedness kits before. We talked to you about emergency plans. You need to write an emergency plan, ladies and gentlemen, detailing exactly what you're going to do during any given emergency that might happen to you. And you need to get serious about it. Not just blowing it off and say, oh, Ron doesn't know what he's talking about. Every time I've said this, more and more disasters and emergencies happen all around the world. It's not just here in the United States. If you live in England, if you live in Romania, if you live in the Czech Republic, if you live in Greece, you need to have an emergency preparedness plan. If you live in Australia or South America, Central America, Mexico, you need to have a plan. It doesn't matter where you live, you need to have a plan. Second, you need to have food storage. I recommend at least 6 months of food storage. 6 months of food storage. You also need water. Plan on storing some water. We've talked about this. We've talked about this many, many times. Emergency preparedness kits. Prepare your preparedness kits now. We're in the middle of the winter. It's cold. At night here, it got down to 21 degrees last night. It's going to drop down a lot colder than that in the coming days. It got up into the 60s today, but it was raining. It was cool. I wore a light jacket. My wife and I had to go out for a little while today. We wore jackets because it was cool. Folks, make sure you have winter clothing set aside in your preparedness kit in case you have to leave your home or wherever you're at. Make sure your emergency preparedness kit has paperwork, documents about your life, your shot records, for example, insurance documents, life insurance and health insurance documents. Make sure you have titles to your home, your rental agreements. Make sure you have titles to your vehicles. Make sure all of that is in your emergency preparedness kit. Copies of it. Copies of it. Make sure you have medical prescriptions. Make sure you have a medical kit. Bandages and all kinds of other medical things that you might need. Scissors, knives, a buck knife or two. Okay? I'm just naming things off the top of my head. I have given you this information before. You can go back into our YouTube programs here. Anytime it lists emergency preparedness in the title of the program, you need to look at that program. Watch it. It's got vital information that you can use to save your life or the life of a family member or someone that you love. You need to be proactive about it. Don't put it off. Murphy's Law is this. It's not if it's not going to happen. It is going to happen. If it can go wrong, it will go wrong. If you proactively plan for any kind of event, these emergency preparedness kits are exactly what we're talking about. You can't go wrong. You need to have a plan. You need to practice your plan. Practice, practice, practice. That way, when it comes to the emergency or disaster that confronts you, you're ready to handle it. You're ready to handle it. Before this earthquake in the Imperial Valley last night, I was going to talk about nothing but preparedness. But I wanted to give you all this information because it's vital for your safety. A lot of things that have happened today that you need to be aware of. It's going to continue happening. Okay? It's going to continue happening. Linda Covington says, unfortunately, insurance companies won't let you stock up on prescription medications. They'll let you have 90 days worth of supplies. Mine does. Many insurance companies will. All you have to do is ask them for it. You ask your doctors ask the insurance company, and voila, you have 90 days worth of prescriptions for yourself. Okay? You need to do this, guys. Something big is coming. I promise you that. Something big is right in front of us. If you think I'm wrong, go away. You don't need to hear this program then. I'm trying to save your lives. That's all I am trying to do. Guys, I mean it. I mean it. I wouldn't put this information out in front of you if it wasn't important. I just wouldn't do it. Folks, also something else happened today. A former United States Supreme Court Justice, Sandra Day O'Connor, died, age 93. She retired quite a few years ago. She was no longer on the Supreme Court, but her tenure on the Supreme Court meant a great deal. She was a great Supreme Court justice. She was able to accomplish a great many things, and she kept the Supreme Court honest. That was one of the first things that she did when she came into the court. She made sure she was a center part of the Supreme Court. She kept them honest. Okay? Sandra Day O'Connor dead today at age 93. A sad day. Now, I reported to you the other day that my sweet Aunt Tina died. The funeral is going to be held Tuesday in Idaho. I'm going to watch the funeral on Zoom Tuesday morning. So I won't be available for anybody probably after 10 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday. I'm just giving everybody a heads up. I spoke to her son, Craig. the oldest child. He met with his sister Susan today, making final arrangements for their mother. And then they were going to go over to the funeral home this evening. That's probably where they're at right now. Folks, I appreciate your condolences, I really do. This was a great lady. She helped me and my brothers and sisters a great deal through our lives. We've lost a great woman. She was the wife of one of my dad's brothers. He died a few years ago. We have two more family members. Actually, one. My dad's older sister is still alive in Logan, Utah. Her and her husband, Ron. They're in their 90s. We love them. We love each and every one of our members of our family. Why am I telling you this? This is the holiday season. I have asked all of you, all of us within the sound of my voice, make sure this holiday season you spend time with your families. Gather them together around you. Share information. Tell stories about your lives that your children and grandchildren could write down and remember. And then they can write a book about you, or maybe you could do that. These are great times. Great times. We're not all going to be around for much longer. Things are happening in our world. Make sure you spend time with your wife, your spouse, husband, with your friends, your neighbors, those that you care about. Tell stories. Share some laughter. Share some scriptures. I guarantee you, if you do that, your lives will be blessed. I guarantee that your lives will be blessed. Now, a couple other things that I'm going to show you. Okay? This is a cute dog. One of my friends shared this. Why am I sharing it with you? Do a fist bump with those that you care about. Show them some love. Show them some tender attention. Even your dogs and your kitties. Those animals that you love and care about. Even chickens and donkeys. Everybody deserves love. Okay? That's number one. Next, I want to show you something that we've done here at my house. And I urge you guys all to do it. Decorate your house for Christmas. Share it with your friends. Yesterday I put that picture up on our doorway to our patio so people will see it. There was a reason. I want to share the Christmas holidays with everybody. The stars here blink on and off. The star from the Star of Bethlehem. What do we know? The Star of Bethlehem. Then we have other lights that we put up. I put up a lot of Christmas lights on the side. I want people to know that we care. No, we're not going to leave our house unguarded. But I want to show the world that we celebrate the true reason for the season. Jesus Christ was born in a manger in Bethlehem a lot of years ago. Raised as a young man, found in the temple speaking with the high priest in the temple at age 14. Not just speaking with, but teaching the high priest in the temple. When his parents found him, because they wondered where he went, they found him in the temple. They scolded him for not telling them where he was going or what he was going to be doing. He apologized to his parents. Even at age 14, Jesus Christ knew his mission. When Satan tempted him on the pinnacles of the temple, he said, "How dare you tempt me?" and told Satan where to go. A great many things happened in the Savior's life. Not only did he get tempted, but he taught hundreds, if not thousands, of people as well. He helped change lives. He healed people. And even at the end, he bore testimony of the gospel of Jesus Christ. He taught his apostles the gospel, and they carried it forth after his death, after his resurrection, after he ascended into heaven. Let us remember all these stories from the scriptures. Share them with your family. Share them with your friends. I could tell you stories all night long. I love the scriptures. I hope that you do too. In the scriptures, you're going to find your way to eternal life with our Heavenly Father and His Son, Jesus Christ. I bear testimony of that. Share it. Make sure your family knows what you're talking about, what your life is really about. Don't just say Happy Holidays. Say Merry Christmas. Let's be in the habit of having a very Merry Christmas and sharing the gospel of Jesus Christ with everyone. Brothers and sisters, I love each and every one of you. I'm not here just to rattle my jaws. I'm here to help and help bless each and every one of our lives. May God be with you and bless you this holiday season. This is not the last of our presentations. We are going to continue. God be with you until we meet again. That's my prayer for each and every one of us. God be with you until we meet again. We will see you on the other side. We'll be back on the air for sure on Sunday about 2 p.m. this Sunday. I have some visits I need to make to some people just after 12 noon. And after I get through with that, I'll be back on the air Sunday afternoon with Come Follow Me, the Savior Said. Sunday school class this Sunday sometime after 2 p.m. I appreciate each and every one of you here. Please join me for Come Follow Me, the Savior Said. We're going into the book of Revelations. I hope you're ready. We're going to have some fun. We're going to learn a lot. Have a good night, folks. We will see you on the other side. Good night, everybody.